I love ending my week with our panel, Small Business Women Australia's Amanda Rose and Sky News contributor Joe Hildebrand. Welcome to you both. Great to see you. Smiling faces. Week today was Donald Trump Day. I got up and started watching Peter Stefanovic on First Edition. I thought I was watching a series on Netflix. Let's have a look at this verdict. Guilty on 34 counts of falsifying documents. His daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, was on with Erin Molan earlier. Have a listen to what Laura had to say.
It's terrifying. I mean, we are supposed to be a free country. You are supposed to have a right as an American citizen to a fair trial. And yet this is the opposite of that. And I think a lot of people, to your point, who maybe even never thought about supporting Donald Trump, look at what they're able to do to a former president, to someone with all the resources that Donald Trump has, and still see what they're able to do to this man. And they say, wow, if they can do this to him, then I don't stand a chance. The average person in this country doesn't have a chance at all if the government decides to go after you.
Lara Trump there. Joe, do you think Donald Trump's going to see the inside of a jail cell?
I think you'll see the inside of the White House pretty soon. Sadly, I think the Democratic and the Democrats and the urban elites who are going after Trump for and trying to make it as though he's simply just not a legitimate person. And I have no doubt that he did all the stuff that he's been found guilty of, by the way. But it's just a colossal own goal. If you look at where Donald Trump was after the red wave of the midterms, it turned out to be barely a little splash in a puddle. And Donald Trump gave that long rambling announcement at Mar-a-Lago saying that he was going to run again. He didn't seem to have any real reason to run again. He didn't seem to offer up any policies. It didn't seem to have any purpose except for the fact that he still didn't believe the last election was legitimate. And again, they've just put lead in his pencil. Pursuing him over this has just given all his supporters the ultimate get out the vote rallying cry. It's confirmed their conspiracy theories about, the deep state coming out to get him because because they're scared of him or because he's the only one who speaks truth to power or whatever it is. It's just an absolutely idiotic own goal by the American establishment. They thought they'd be able to do this to shut him out. And in fact, they've just given him a platform to cruise all the way to the White House. And the polls show that.
Amanda, I reckon if I was an American and had a vote, what I'd be voting about is the lack of control on their southern border, the millions of people who are getting into the United States and staying there. Anyone I know who's visited and gone to places like San Francisco and New York have come back to Australia and said, well, that's it. That's the last time I'm going there. These cities are now, crime-ridden. There's homeless people through the streets. I'd be voting on what the current administration under Sleepy Joe has actually done in ruining the country.
Well, that's a very good point. And all those issues you mentioned are now not being discussed in the media because everyone's talking about Trump over there and no one's actually talking about the absolute disaster that country's in. Look, it is obvious it's a politicised witch hunt. That's a given. They don't want him to win. However, I'm not a fan of attacking or using a particular set of rules for one person and no one else. So they need to apply the exact same rigour and process to every other politician, every CEO, every judge, every lobbyist. And I tell you now, the jails will be pretty full.
Yeah, that's a very good point.